Good morning, everybody. So that lady is a little bit of a pet hate of mine now, since the Zoom has made this little adjustment. So she just comes in and tells you that this session is being recorded without any warning at all. But I'm starting to get used to the American accent. I hope soon they will put a South African on there. Maybe me, maybe it's Brian, you'll hear his voice in the near future. But good morning from a very, very cold Pretoria. It's good to see a lot of you already kind of jumping onto this call. We're doing great with our numbers. We're proving we're already hit, I think we're already in the 40s. So really excited to have a lot of you just come onto this call this morning. My name is Brian. I'm the community manager at CFO South Africa, and I'm really excited to have you. So as you come in, and if you've been to a few of my webinars, you'll be able to just let us know in the chat where you are, your name, and perhaps your organization. And is it colder than Pretoria where you are at the moment? Please let us know if that's the case. So let us know in the chat your name, perhaps just say hello, your company in the chat, and how the weather is doing. How the weather, it's really, really cold here in Pretoria. I'm sitting at about 9 degrees. So welcome. If you're expecting to come to a Caseway Africa webinar, you're definitely in the right place. If you're lost and stumbling across the internet, please stick around. You might learn a couple of things. Today's webinar is brought to us by Caseway Africa. And today we'll talk about the promise of automation for finance, which is largely been slated to deliver unimagined efficiencies and free up finance teams and spend more time on value-adding and future-looking tasks, right? Remember that, value-adding and future-looking tasks. So I hope you'll definitely get something out of this. And one important thing that I must say is that if you're interacting with us in the chat, please select all panelists and attendees. I think my team from CFO South Africa usually throw that in. If they haven't, you'll hear it from me. Select all panelists and attendees. I see a lot of you already started to do that. And so thank you for that. Looking good. We're going to hear today from the case for the Office of the CFO at TWK Agriculture. This is the case study that you all signed up to hear from. I want to hear what their journey has been like. They began their automation journey with Caseway some 10 years ago. So we'll hear from TWK CFO Eddie Fivaz, who is also, I might add, CFO of the Year nominee. So we are in good company. He will be joined by Theuns Holtshousen, who's a business executive from Africa Markets at .it. I have Nischol Paima as well, who's a consulting manager at .it. They've worked very closely with TWK Agriculture on this project and just helping them along this journey. So don't be shy to interact. I mean, I've got a very, very good team of pros that are with us. So I encourage you to engage, be interactive by posting all your questions and your comments into the chat above. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces. So it's good to have everybody. A lot of familiar faces that attended similar webinars that I've hosted. So thank you all for joining us this morning. I wanted to just kind of, at least allow my guests to say hello. And I'm speaking specifically for Eddie Fivaz, just to, tell us, just say good morning and say hello. You can unmute yourself. And then after that, we'll go for Theuns just to say hello. And then we'll go to Nischol Paima to also just say hello.
Good morning, Brian, and all the panelists and all the guys that attend this seminar this morning. It's nice to be here.
Good morning, everyone. Theuns Holtshousen from Caseway Africa at Adapt.it. It's freezing in Joburg, but we are warmed up by this webinar this morning. Looking forward to participate. Nischol, over to you.
Thanks, Theuns. Morning, everyone. Nischol from Caseway Africa, and it's great to be here. Thank you for having us, and looking forward to all the great questions.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I'm not going to forget, we've got Dingani and Megan Booth as well, so you guys can say hello. We'll bring those guys in right to the end. They've got something to demonstrate. Hopefully we can squeeze it all in today's session, so say hello quickly.
Hi, thanks, Brian. Megan Booth from Caseware. I'm excited to be presenting to you a little bit about Caseware later, and I'm just happy to be here. Thanks.
Morning, everyone. Dingani from Caseware Africa. Looking forward to meeting you guys and engaging with you guys today. Thanks.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, guys. So we decided to switch it up a bit today, and just to get you all warmed up and ready, I've got perhaps a poll or a fun poll, if you want to call it, just to get ourselves all nice and ready. We've got a good audience. I'm going to kick off a poll, and it's 3 questions that'll come up on your screen. 3 simple questions. Hopefully, I want to see if we can get everybody to kind of respond to all the questions. Nice and simple. You'll see them come up on your screen. The first one is, are you currently using auditing and financial reporting software? Simple, yes or no? Just tell us. That's the first question. If you're using it or not using it. The second question, do you insource or outsource financial preparation? Right? Again, insource or outsource. Tell us your current position. The third one, as we warm up really nicely, a nice little funny one there. Are you drafting financial statements manually? Who's carrying the overhead of compliance? Me, and I totally hate it. It's stressful, it's driving me nuts. Or I definitely need to automate, even though it's not driving me nuts, or it might be driving me nuts. Third response is someone else carries the cost, and then I have no cooking clue who's carrying this cost. Thank you for all of you for participating in that. So it's coming up nicely. We're sitting at 32%. If I can hit 70% response, I'll be very happy. 70% response, I'll be very happy. And you guys are doing fantastic. So most people, well, currently 63% are saying, yes, we use financial reporting software. So there's another close to 40% that are not. Do you insource or outsource? Most people are insourcing this, and sitting about 13% of us that are still not. And who's carrying the overhead compliance? Who's drafting financial statements? Me, and it's stressful. Close to 40%. And then it's interesting that other people are saying someone else carries the cost. And then there's at least close to 24% I have no cooking clue. I just do the work. I'm just a finance person. I just do the work. I have no clue who carries this cost. We'll see if we can push it up. We're sitting at close to 60%. See if we can get it to close to 60%, I'll be very happy. I'm gonna wait for a couple more people. If you're just joining us, good morning. We've got a poll up. Please have a look at the poll. Answer the questions as you can. I'll be closing it very shortly, as soon as I just get one more person, maybe 2. A 60% response rate will be excellent. Okay, cool. So I'm going to end the poll now, and I think we've got some. Ooh, and then all of a sudden there was a big rush of people wanting to respond. Okay, so we hit 63%. I think there's a few people that just joined. As you come in, just go straight to the poll. Tell us where your position is, and we'll take it away. I want us to get into our conversation for today, into our case study, at least by 10 minutes after the hour, so we can get our session going. Okay. Third question. I don't understand the third question. Maybe there's an option for you. Let me rephrase it. Are you drafting financial statements manually? Maybe you can just tell us in the chat. And carrying the overhead, and who's carrying the overhead compliance. Tell us in the chat if that question is not clear for you. And then we can try and pick it up from there. I'm ending the chat now. Thank you guys for responding to that. And with that, I wanted to perhaps really get into the meat of why you are all here this morning. And but before I do that, I wanted to call on my esteemed guest, and I'm going to call on Theuns quickly. Theuns, perhaps you could start us off, and before we bring on the case study from TWK and Eddie's story, could you just give us a brief introduction to TWK's engagement with Caseware from the beginning, and what do you do? What did you do for them? Just give us a sense.
Sure. Thank you, Brian. Before I kick off, I said to Brian this morning, thank you for making beard training, because I haven't shaved for the last 2 weeks, but yeah, we are working from home and making it work. So it's interesting, Eddie Fivaz actually bought from us 10 years ago. And I think as a tech business, we have evolved so much since then, and we've been on a journey with TWK. Just a bit of background, TWK Agriculture has businesses spanning 21 operations with 12 active users on Caseware. And Caseware is really responsible for the drafting of their financial statements and for assisting them with tech for the actual consolidation process. So this is a massive automation project for the Office of the CFO that has brought the various data sets into one database, delivering true aggregation in a record time. This also means that the same database that is used as for the businesses for their monthly management accounts is used for annual financial statements, resulting in those 12 monthly balances balancing with the annual automation. So this is really a relationship with TWK and the value that we add for them in their Office of the CFO today.
Thanks for that, Theuns. I think that's a very good foundation, a good starting point. And I think with that, I want to call on the man himself, Eddie, who's the CFO of TWK Agriculture, who will tell us a bit about the story. So, Eddie, over to you. I mean, could you give us your own brief introduction and your elevator speech? What industry do you operate in? What are your financial requirements? What's keeping you up at night?
Thank you, Brian. Yes. So TWK TWK is a listed entity, and we are a very well diversified business which span over a wide geographical area of Mpumalanga, KwaZulu-Natal, the Western Cape, the Eastern Cape, the Free State, Gauteng, and also Swaziland or Eswatini. The total asset value of the group is approximately 5.2 billion rand and consists of 24 companies, and is divided in 5 segments, namely our timber segment, trade segment, grain segment, and then motors and tires, and also the financial services segment. The total group turnover is approximately 8.6 billion. And your question is, yes, what is the financial requirements and what keep me awake at night is, you know what, my team strives for excellence, and only the best is good enough. In our world, in my world, there's no such thing than materiality. I know the auditors like that word, but for me, it does not exist. I want accurate and on-time reporting, and that's really critical in our dynamic and fast-growing environment and in our business. Also, because we are listed, we need to publish our results within 3 months after year end, and that's critical for me, and it keeps me awake, and I need to adhere to that time frames.
All right. Okay. I'm going to go back just because you made that point. I want to go back to Theuns quickly. And Theuns, could you tell us a little bit about the promise of the products, right? Because you've heard from Eddie what his pain points are. Tell us a bit about the promise of the products that you're offering.
So Caseware really strives to operate at the level just above accounting systems. So we do not compete with any accounting package in the market, but we rather integrate with more than 80 accounting packages where we import the trial balance. And it's really our aim to then help CFOs to get a set of quality financial statements. We also help with the consolidation process, with interim financial statements, with cloud tax and cloud set for corporates. The automation promise will deliver time saving, efficiency, quality, value, peace of mind in terms of the compliance overhead being taken care of. And especially in a post-COVID world, we enable remote operations through cloud, where finance teams can now collaborate on the same file, no matter their location. So you might resonate with this. No more final.xls, final.xls, final to be reviewed by Eddie.xls. No. In our automated world, there's always only one version of the truth. And I think that really helps with that quality promise that it is trying to achieve within his office of the CFO.
So, Theuns, I've got a lot of finance people on this call, and I know that the spreadsheet is never far away, but I'm going to leave that conversation for another day. Go back to Eddie quickly. Eddie, so you heard that's the package, that's the product. Can you tell us why you purchased Caseware back in 2011? What was the motivation?
Well, Brian, I've joined TWK in 2011, and that was a couple of months before year end. And immediately I realized that the previous year's financials was not IFRS compliant. It was therefore critical to get a quick but sustainable solution. Caseware was a perfect match for us at that stage, and because exactly what you said is that we want to get rid of all that Excel spreadsheets and the trouble regarding that. And the team of Caseware was ready, willing, and able to assist us already in 2011 to achieve our goals. So yeah, we have implemented Caseware basically a month before year end, and was able to deliver our IFRS compliant financials on time for the group and get rid of all the Excel spreadsheets and Word templates to get it IFRS compliant. At the end of the day, it's all about compliance, standardization of the reports, quality of reports, and on-time reports for the end users.
So, Eddie, I'm going to stay with you a bit, and I perhaps want to kind of build on this journey, right? We always hear that automation will allow finance teams to spend less time on mundane tasks and more value-adding activities, right? And it sounds like this has really been a reality for your team at TWK, given what you just told me. Can you let us know what's fallen away? What were you doing previously, and what's kind of what's staying, what's new, and what kind of value are you seeing?
Yeah, Brian, these days you can't go without technology. So, why spend time and why waste energy on tasks that can be automated? My view is that the human brain is powerful. So therefore you need to dive into the power of the brain and add real value to the business. So to be able to do that, you need to automate some systems that can do that, and then you can use your brain. So unnecessary building of financials, IFRS templates and reports, for us, it's now automated. We don't spend time on that. So time spent on consolidation process was dramatically reduced as well because of that. So the team spent now their extra time analyzing the information, attend the meetings of our different business units, and take part in meaningful discussions to improve and grow our business. And more importantly, we spend quality time to develop our team. It is a process of continuous learning and improving to grow from good to great.
So I really like that, and you've started to mention some of the technical things of how things work for you. Now, I'd like to call on Nischol, right? Nischol, I think you're involved in the TWK story, and if you can give us, Nischol, a sense of, is this how things usually go? Is Eddie's story, as what he's presenting now, the textbook case study for the benefits of a finance team, or the benefits of automation? Nischol?
Yeah, I think the short answer is yes. But like Eddie mentioned, you need to invest the time. And when you invest the time in the beginning, you will reap the rewards later. And every business is different, every requirement is different. And we really have to assess what the client requires and what's going to work in their environment.
All right. And when you approach a client like TWK, what are some of the things that you initially do? How do you scope out what's required, and how do you make sure that you can deliver on a quality product?
Yeah. So I think it comes down to understanding the needs of the finance team. If we understand the need and where the stress points are, we can then offer guidance on where Caseware can help alleviate. And to just elaborate a bit further, requirements for one team might be very different to another. And there are so many factors. Does the team have experience on Caseware? Is it the first time that they're using Caseware? Are they experts, or are they champions of the software? Whatever the scenario is, we've got courses and plans to cater for all. So for instance, if you've never used Caseware, we have a fundamentals course. If you have used it and it's been a while, we've got refresher courses and accelerator courses. If you want to have a deeper understanding of the software, we have a champions course. I think in TWK's case, you've got a mix of skill across the group. And our job is not just to empower the individuals, but also transfer skills, but also create an environment of learning so the team can share from each other. And so as you identify strengths in the team and enhance the skills a bit further, each team member can share what they've learned, and they can create a community within their group.
Yeah, and I'm really kind of picking up on that transfer of skills is often very important when you're, especially in step of migration, right? Because you want people to take on the new product and be able to use it, and not always kind of go back into old habits. So the change management aspect of it becomes quite important. Do you stay on course with them throughout the process? I know Eddie, Eddie already said that we purchased this ages ago. Does your journey stay with the client throughout the entire process? What's the relationship like?
So the relationship is very high touch in the beginning, because we want you to understand the software. So in the beginning of the implementations, we take you through a training course. We go through an implementation phase where we help you replicate the prior set of financials and just leave you in a position where you can take the software forward. And as the years go by, or as the months come closer to maybe specific deadlines, we're always in touch with our clients. Our clients can get hold of us, pop us an email or give us a call, and share with us their thoughts, or what the auditors are saying in terms of compliance and what they need. And that's how we take the relationships forward.
Yeah, it seems like a very close relationship. And while on talking about relationships, to the audience, if you have any questions that you want to ask as this conversation progresses, please feel free to select all panelists and attendees, post it in the chat, or try and pick up the question. If you're asking a question that's directed at any specific person, also mention that in the chat. Otherwise, I'm happy to pick up questions as we go along. Anything comes up, don't wait until the end. Just put it in the chat, and we'll try and address it. Eddie, I want to come back to you quickly. We're starting to get into products a bit, and could you please tell us some of the best products, or functionalities rather, within the products that your office of the CFO is benefiting from right now?
Well, Brian, I think you just made mention now of the of the training on the system, and they assist us during the process. And I need to say that you really don't have to be a brain surgeon or a CA to understand the program. It's really easy to understand. We also train our super users in the process to assist the rest of the team as well. That's just maybe a side comment. So what we also use in the program is the community platform, and that really assists the team to develop because of the available training information and also the frequently asked question section within the program. The cost saving by using the XBRL functionality is also a great benefit. To submit the data to CIPC, big benefit, and also cost saving and an easy exercise. So no one have to sit and punch the numbers, and so it's just automatically there. And then currently we are busy to implement the Caseware connector functionality. And I will definitely benefit because of even better reporting due to the powerful Excel functionality within it. And this will enhance comparison with the budgets and prior periods. And yeah, then we also be able to drill down in more detail and make quick changes to reporting if it's required.
Thanks for that, Theuns. And then you started to talk about, financial saving and, giving your more team, but I keep hearing this. I want to save money as I go through. And with that, I want to go to Theuns quickly, right? And Theuns, I want to ask you a question in terms of this financial saving, because there's always this thing about a lot of these cloud-based solutions are super, super expensive, right? Give us a sense of who this product is for. I mean, from a small business, is it an SME? Is it for large industry? And, give us a sense of what they're looking to kind of spend across their various businesses.
Thank you for that question, Brian. So there's a few things I want to touch on that all will lead to an answer to your question. The first one is why Caseware if I have an internal business intelligence solution already? Why do I have to now acquire another reporting solution? So I think, we really strive, or not I think, I know, we really strive to make our clients function independently from us. And when we deliver a reporting solution, we arrive as a compliance expert. So when you try and build IFRS compliance in your normal business intelligence, for example, you will still carry the compliance overhead. So that's why it makes perfect sense to bring a solution like Caseware on board. I think just to speak to Eddie's point earlier, we want to help clients to spend less time preparing and more time interpreting, because we really want to give the CFO and the finance team a different seat at the table when they arrive with the correct data that will help them to help the business to drive informed decision making. So who is this for? We've got full IFRS, we've got IFRS for SME, we've also got all the reporting frameworks for public sector. So we really cater for the entire public sector and corporate market, for small to large enterprises, listed, non-listed, group that's got consolidation requirements, smaller companies that are looking to get financing or looking to get acquired, and that really want to produce a set of quality financial statements. So I think once again, I know we pride ourselves that we really try and offer solutions across the entire market so that we can help from the smallest client up to the biggest one.
Right, and I keep hearing solution, right? Eddie, when we last spoke, you did mention that in 2017 you bought SmartSync, and again, how did this improve your processes? Because this is one of the solutions that's provided, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the idea was with SmartSync was to remotely sync the data to the server and ensure visibility and accessibility of the data to the team. At that stage, we definitely did not predict lockdown and work from home. So by luck, we were able and ready and geared to work efficiently from home since lockdown.
I'm going to call in Nischol quickly, just because you mentioned the working from home environment, right? There's a COVID spectrum. Nischol, can you give us a sense of, what has it been like, for demand at least, or operational? What is the impact of, that COVID and this environment has had on you providing the service, if at all?
So the impact of COVID has largely been quite good in terms of connecting with our clients. I think we've always strived to assist our clients on a face-to-face basis, but having a technology available like the various platforms, as well as our cloud platforms, it allows us to collaborate with our clients very closely. In terms of training and implementation, that hasn't slowed down in terms of productivity. We're still able to help our clients where they need assistance.
Yeah, and that's super important, right? Because I think there's always a fear of, how am I going to continue to be serviced? And when I speak to Eddie again on my next, perhaps get a better understanding, how do you feel, Eddie, that the continuous development of this technology like this is propelling the modern CFO? What benefits are you seeing specifically as a CFO?
Brian, we want I want my team and the team of accountants to, to really understand the numbers and understand the drivers behind the numbers. And, this technology really helped us with that. I've mentioned earlier that, the brain is powerful. And so I want to unlock time spent on that and give the accountants the time to really dive into the numbers and understand the drivers, like I mentioned earlier. And, for a business to really thrive and be sustainable, you need to be able to move fast and make quick decisions. And I think we all understand that, and we've realized it, especially the last couple of years. And an efficient team can do that, but need accurate and detailed information to be able to achieve that. So a good management team will be able to make quick decisions, but for that, they need accurate and detailed information. And this is really what we were able to achieve with Caseware.
All right, so sounds very exciting indeed. A lot of good stuff coming out of that. Megan, you've been sitting and waiting, and I hope you're not all frozen out. I haven't forgotten about you. I know you've got something that you wanted to show us, which is at least some of the technical bits of how the Caseware suite kind of functions. So I'm going to, hopefully, you're getting ready, and you can perhaps even share your screen. I know you've got this deck that you wanted to go through some of these elements, and share that with us. And before you do, I just want to remind again the audience, if you would like to ask any questions, feel free at any time, post your questions, and I'll pick them up as we go along and pass them on to the panelists. So thank you. And Megan Booth, Corporate Team Leader, over to you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I just want to make sure that everybody can see my screen. Brian, if you could just give me a heads up. Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you. It is really with great pleasure to be joining this webinar today. So as I've already introduced myself, my name is Megan, and I am the Corporate Team Leader for Caseware Africa. And I'll be spending sort of the next 15 minutes or so sharing some insights into our world-class software. And our goal is to really help you automate your finance office like we have done for Eddie at TWK Agri. So in 2020, we were all challenged to work from anywhere at any time. We became experts with virtual tools such as MS Teams and Zoom. And let's not forget the most popular statement, you're on mute. These tools have become indispensable in collaborating with our customers and colleagues, and ultimately helping us build our businesses. This has become the new normal. And in saying this, it leads me into our discussion around our Caseware ecosystem. We have four main areas within our product suite, namely financial reporting, assurance, tax, and secretarial. However, for the purpose of today's discussion, we'll be focusing on the financial reporting section. You will see that Caseware Cloud underpins these four solutions, as our focus is to ensure that you can automate your processes and ensure effective collaboration across your teams. I will discuss cloud in a little bit more detail shortly. But ultimately, the Caseware ecosystem provides a single platform for you to manage your entire financial regulatory requirements, integrated experiences to create a holistic, seamless way of managing financial reporting, secretarial, and tax. So I know we do not have much time, so I'll be briefly discussing the following items, namely integrated financial statements, which includes interims and consolidations, and then we'll end off with a discussion around cloud. So when we look at our integrated solution, there are four main elements that make up the financial reporting part. There are various templates such as full IFRS, IFRS for SME, and our brand new interims template, as well as our consolidation template. XBRL forms part of all these templates and automatically comes part of the software. We have over 700 companies that are using our financial reporting tools in-house. And these companies, as Theuns mentioned, range from your large listed enterprises down to small to medium-sized enterprises. And the great thing about these templates is that they are geared towards most industries. However, we do have a consulting team which is headed up by Nischol that can provide industry-specific customized templates. So we're very proud to have launched the interim template, as this allows you to import data seamlessly from multiple periods and prepare IAS 34 compliant interim condensed financial statements. This template also gives the ability to create explanatory notes and includes JSE specific requirements and market trends. And also the great thing about this is that this template integrates into our IFRS template, so again, creating further automation. Our consolidation template allows for you to produce a set of aggregated financial statements at a click of a button. The consolidation template has the ability to report in 4 or 6 columns and caters for complex operational structures and also supports multi-currencies, as well as catering for those pesky eliminating journal entries that are set up once and can be set to recur. So let's dive into some of the benefits derived from using the financial reporting solution. And as Theuns and Eddie have sort of been talking about, compliance is really critical. And it is continuously evolving. And it's an ongoing hurdle for most companies, and one that is integral to financial reporting and consolidation. And we ultimately take the hassle out of ensuring that you're compliant by ensuring that our templates are always up to date with the latest disclosures. Automation and efficiency. So one of the most common financial challenges is failing to automate time-consuming processes. Manual data entry eats up time and resources and ultimately creates more problems than it actually solves and opens you up to the dreaded finger error, which can have massive consequences. So it is possible to implement an effective year-end and financial process by investing in automation to reduce those errors and actually free up time and resources. And as Eddie mentioned, to use that brain. If we just think about adjustments that must be processed every year, whereas if this is automated and recurring, this is one less complexity at year end. This is even more evident in consolidations where the number of adjustments can be exponentially more. Automation is not a new term. It has been around for some time, but I still believe that this is key to gain those efficiencies. At the end of the day, when it comes back to time, it's the time that you must spend on the process or perhaps the time needed to upskill new staff. The biggest time saving and efficiencies that we can see in our solution is the following points. So first being the mapping. This is really the backbone of the solution. This enables consistency year on year and consistency between group companies, even if the accounting systems are different. Further time saving can be seen within the updating of our template and the technology that gives you peace of mind and reduces the time in updating of compliance that you have to do yourself. And lastly, the consolidation functionality, which gives you the capability of syncing your subsidiaries and making sure that the console has the latest figures of the underlying entities. So there are several key features within the financial reporting solution that will assist with automation. Some of these I've already gone through, but I'll touch on them briefly again. So when it comes to compliance, you can prepare financial statements using the latest IFRS standards and guidance issued as they evolve, which includes IFRS 9, 15, and 16. You can seamlessly import a trial balance or general ledger detail from over 60 accounting packages, Excel, CSV, and ASCII. Automation we have touched on, but you want to drive continuity from one data source across all statements, notes, disclosures, and working papers. Firm template configuration gives you the ability to configure specific templates that are bespoke to the needs of your organization and ultimately drives consistency across all your financial statements. Built-in consolidation enables aggregation of many trial balances from various general ledger systems to simplify group reporting in a central platform. The built-in roll forward feature increases efficiency by leveraging extensive built-in logic to roll forward selected information. The mapping, as mentioned, is the backbone, and this is done once, and only new accounts are mapped when created. The lead sheets are incredibly powerful tools that are used to create an audit trail and assist with cross-referencing supporting documentation, which will ultimately make the audit process even more streamlined. And then lastly, Caseware has XBRL compliance automatically built into the technology, which creates CIPC IXBRL reports in real time with online validation against the CIPC portal, with pre-tagged from the financial statements. So being able to work from anywhere at any time has become the new norm. This is something that we've been quite vocal about at Caseware over the last couple of years. And we have been keeping our finger on the pulse as it relates to eliminating geographical boundaries within your corporate work environment. One of our biggest focus areas is our ecosystem of application, which enables you to operate all your engagements across multiple areas from a single platform. So in a nutshell, the cloud enables you to manage all information from a single location, manage all engagements in a single platform, safely store and automatically back up all information and files, and collaborate within your teams in real time and work from anywhere at any time. So more than ever before, being able to collaborate is of the utmost importance. And using cloud enables teams to do this successfully from anywhere and any device. Cloud also provides for a single platform for managing all your engagements safely and securely, which gives you peace of mind that your data is continuously backed up and you can decide who has access to what. So as we start talking about cloud, one topic which is consistently top of mind is the aspect of security, and rightfully so. Where's your data stored? Who has access to it? The ultimate question is, how do I know that my data is secure? So we have independent audits that are conducted by registered third parties as part of our compliance program for ISO 27001 and SOC 2 for our cloud services. And these are industry standard for security and is the same as that used for internet banking. So I'm going to end off this presentation by just briefly introducing the corporate team. These are the wonderful individuals that I work with. Dingani is our product specialist whom you've seen on this presentation. And in the background, we've got Tando, who's our business development manager, and Tato and Wandile are our senior account managers, and ensure that you will have a successful journey with our solution. So today we've covered two elements of our ecosystem, but on the 28th of October, we'll be joining in on another CFO webinar where we'll dive into CloudSec and Cloud Tax. And I really do hope to see you all at that webinar. So please reach out to myself or Dingani if you'd like more of a detailed product demonstration where we can go into the technicalities of the product. But thank you again for joining. And if there's any questions, I think I'll pause here and I'll hand it back to Brian. Thank you.
Thanks, Megan. That was really, really insightful. I'm seeing a lot of positive feedback that's coming in the crowd. And there's a question that actually keeps coming around, and I think, Dingani, you responded to it, but I perhaps want to let you on mute, and I'm going to ask it, and maybe you can respond it to the general audience, right? I think it's a question that came from Gustav, and I think it's a very good one, and he was asking, does your solution require pre-templating? And it might speak to some of the points that Megan was talking about, of the data before your solution can run, or does it include all levels of artificial intelligence that can interpret the data accordingly? I think that's a very good question. Dingani, I think you responded in the chat, but I think it's good for you to just give us a comment on that so everybody can hear.
Thanks, Brian. All right, so I think it's broken down into two parts. The first part is that we can essentially consume any type of data as long as it's on an Excel spreadsheet of some sort. So from what happens is that when you import your trial balance, you're then able to specify what each column would represent within the software. So things like account numbers, account descriptions, with balances that you'd want to import. And from there, we'll then, using the software's in-map memory, be able to remember that when you do your next import, you don't have to remap those accounts. So I hope I've answered that question efficiently.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that. And I saw it kind of flying around. I'm going to go to Theuns quickly. I mean, we've had a very detailed presentation that came from me, and Theuns, I was thinking as Megan was speaking, can you give us a sense of at least what are the reasons your clients are giving you for the need to automate this? From your perspective, what are they saying when you speak to them and say we need to to switch to some kind of digital reporting? What are the reasons that's really driving some of this thought process or the requirements?
Thank you, Brian. Our aim is really to build future-ready solutions based on what our clients tell us they need. So it's incredibly important for us to uplift the office of the CFO with powerful data that will give CFOs that different seat at the table when it comes to the informed decision making. So we make use of client interviews, surveys, beta testing groups, and post-launch feedback to continuously tweak our solutions. And ultimately, the value when the corporate organization uses Caseware to draft their financial statements and the auditor uses Caseware to audit, in a post-COVID world, there's really no need for anyone to even see each other anymore, because all the data can be shared in that virtual environment in a secure space. So I think that is really ultimately the goal, is to also not hear the corporate CFO, but to hear the auditor's needs. With our cloud solution, the auditor also can engage the client in a cloud environment without having to physically be on site or on premise for the audit. So we're really trying to have a very broader holistic view at how we can solve for the current challenges that we are faced with when we build these solutions for the market.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to live within that context of the challenge that you have. And I wanted to just bring on Megan quickly, and there's something that you mentioned that was quite striking. Compliance is super important. I think a lot of people want to know if a solution kind of covers that. So you don't want to be, going onto this digital journey or digital transformation just because your competitors are, Megan, perhaps you could tell us what are some of the pitfalls that, businesses should avoid when they're going onto this journey. And I know compliance always is one thing that they want to be mindful of, but what else should they be? Is there anything else they should be looking out for that you can share with us?
Well, I mean, ultimately, if we're creating this era of digitization and ensuring collaboration, I think an important aspect is to not forget the relationship with your auditor. And most auditing firms use Caseware. And if you using the same software as your auditor from a collaboration perspective, it just makes that whole process more seamless. Like I mentioned in my demonstration with the lead sheets, you can ultimately create those working papers and link it up in your actual files, so that when you collaborate with your auditors, that process just gets a lot easier. And you can even potentially reduce that audit time. So I think, to answer your question, don't forget the importance of collaborating with your auditors. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for that. And, that relationship with the auditor is a super important one. And, no one likes to be asked a lot of questions by auditors, right? But we've got to find a way to make it a very functional and healthy relationship. Steve has just put a very good question on there, and I'm gonna post it to Dingani quickly. I just saw, he's talking about, is XOL the only format that you are kind of consuming, the file format that your solution consumes? He's saying that we work with other forms of data formats. Is there anything you could share with that?
Thanks for the question. So essentially, we can consume just about any type of file in terms of, we've got ASCII templates, we've got text templates as well. But I think for the larger data sets, we're more around looking at integrating to the accounting package to draw that data into the software. And Steve, I'd like to reach out to you after this just to discuss what sort of accounting packages you're looking at, so that we can find the appropriate solution for your requirements.
Yeah, thanks for that, Dingani. I think questions are flying through, and thank you, Dingani, for responding to a lot of these questions in the chat. I think that's super, super helpful. Keep them coming. We do have a couple more minutes. I wanted to go back to Eddie quickly. Eddie, in this context, what I really like about your story is how the focus is always on the needs of the business first, right? I think, in fact, you were warning that people sometimes like to adopt concepts because it's the latest thing without really thinking about what the business really needs. What advice do you have for attendees who want to get ahead of any kind of reporting or get onto this transformation journey?
Yeah, that's a very important question, Brian. You know what, I always, the different department heads, they've got this big ideas of certain reports that they want to see and so on. So just try to understand what is the real need and why do they ask it and how will it impact your financial reports. So critical to first understand how your monthly reports will relate to your year-end results, to make sure that is always aligned and there isn't any mismatch with it. So try to understand what the need is and how you can unpack it and make sure you can give them the reports that they really need. But it should be, like I said, aligned with, at the end of the day, with your annual financial statements. So, and I think with that, it's something that I've maybe missed earlier with Caseware and the use of that. We never have a mismatch between our monthly management accounts and the annual financial statements, because that was always previously it was a problem for me that you report monthly packs for your management or the board, and it does not align with your annual financials. So with this, with the use of Caseware, it really helped us to get that right. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that, Eddie. Nischol, actually, I had a question. I think it may have come up much earlier, in this conversation. I'm going to pass it to Nischol quickly, and perhaps you can share with us some of the your thinking around this. So, I think it has something to do with going onto this digital journey and transformation. Sometimes may mean some human capital risks. People feel that their existing manual jobs are at risk, etc. What can you say to clients who worry about this? Right? Or, what is the balance that you would tell them between going onto this transformation journey and the potential risk it may have on human resources?
So I think it's important that, Caseware is a tool to assist you in your job. And it's there, a platform for you to still interpret the information. As an accountant, you still have to interpret what sort of journals need to be passed and what sort of compliance matters to your specific company. So there's still a lot of interpretation that you as an accountant adds value to the software as well. And while the software will help you with the automation and the time saving, it then also allows the accountant to spend time on the other aspects of their finance job.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that. Theuns, I wanted to, we are living in kind of unprecedented times at the moment, and I want to get a sense of how often are you re-looking your packages and your offering to kind of, be able to meet the needs of this ever-changing environment. Regulations are changing on a very regular basis. How is your platform, and what is the technology that sits behind it that's helping you kind of navigate the constant changes, whether from a compliance or just from a software perspective?
So you'll agree with me, Brian, if I say that we live in an era of constant change. And being in a tech business, you're only as good as your last release. So I think it's incredibly important for us to not only launch relative software, but to launch technology that help financial professionals stay relative in this ever-changing environment. And how we really aim to achieve that is to not only look at the compliance part, although that is so important to us, but to look at what efficiencies we can derive. How can we assist them to really structure their teams differently? How can we provide the information through analytic portals so that they can see their business in a different light, through a different viewpoint? So I think it is such a close intersection between the tech and the financial professional that, in my opinion, these two are almost hand in hand going into the future. They cannot do this, the one without the other.
Yeah, certainly hand in hand. As we get to, kind of the tail end of our conversation today, Eddie, any last words from you in terms of recommendation as a CFO to any CFOs that are actually on this? What are your words of advice, any recommendations going onto this transformation journey?
Brian, thanks for that. Yeah, for me, we spoke about value adding and how the system can add value. For me, it's a bit different. It's really the people in your organization that adds value to your business. With the Caseware system and the automation of that process, it free up time for your team. That's got, and I've mentioned it, the brain is powerful. Free up that time for your team so that the people, add value to business.
All right, and you heard it. I'm going to go to Nischol. Nischol, what are your words, from a service provider perspective? Any last few words that you want to tell our audience?
Yeah, I think with any automation software, we're there to assist you. We're there to guide you. Implementations of any software requires change management, and as a software provider with Caseware, we've got many courses and many plans we can adjust to suit your need.
Theuns, any last words, recommendations? Why should we come to you?
Because just as Eddie said, we also believe in the power of people. And if we can equip your people in your finance team with our technology, we have really achieved our goal.
I like that. Thank you very much. To you all, a lot of questions. There will be a lot of information that I'm trying to pull as we are speaking off the chat. So, thank you to the audience for being very, very interactive. I'm really delighted at the interaction levels that we've had today on this webinar. So thank you very much for that. I just wanted to kind of share my screen and give you a sense of what is happening next. We are obviously currently on this finance automation promise that has been realized. It's a massive transformation journey that you saw come through from TWK's CFO's office, how he's used this department to become more value-adding and move away from the menial tasks that have been at hand. So with that, I wanted to thank Eddie. Eddie, thank you very much for coming along, sharing your story, really inspiring story indeed. Theuns, Nischol, Dingani, and Megan, thank you very much for chiming into this conversation. And again, just giving us a bit more information of how, what your product does and how it serves the needs of TWK Greek. So really, really grateful to have you all on the platform. Next up, I wanted to let you know that what happens. Well, on the 28th, we've got the 4-stage finance maturity model. Again, we're still talking tech. We want to see how other businesses are doing. That's our webinar that's coming up on the 28th of July. It's brought to us by Cooper. I'll also be hosting that one, so looking forward to that conversation. And as we stay again with this, as you see, SA transformed finance, digitization, digital is the way to go. We want to see how Hyundai has done it. They've got a robotic automation process that's kicking into the mix. I bet you didn't know. That's happening on the 29th of July. And once again, everybody, thank you all for coming onto this journey. I will see you at the next webinars. And from me, from the CFO South Africa team, very good morning and goodbye.
Thank you, Brian. Bye.